they are very interested in learning about Lang and how they can utilize all these AI types to do vibe coding using Lang. It's a completely different way of developing Apex apps, but they have asked some sessions to get more insights with Apex 26.1 new feature. So let me introduce you to Korea members, and then Ashwin, you can start the session for them. Is that all good?
Yes, Christian.
Okay, sounds good. 예, 안녕하세요. 리코딩 시작해 주셔서 감사합니다. 고정 비사님. 그리고 또 오늘 도와주셔서 감사하고요. 오늘 함께 참석해 주셔서 감사합니다. 오늘은 저희 프로덕트 매니저 중에 Ashwin Rao라시는 분이 이 Apex Lang을 어떻게 사용을 해서 AI와 함께 앱을 제작을 할 수 있는지를 보여드릴 겁니다. 그래서 스페시피케이션에서부터 블루프린트를 시작하여서 스캐폴딩을 해가지고 애플리케이션을 에이펙스 안에서 생성을 한 후에 어떻게 또 AI를 통하여서 향상을 하는지 이러한 것들을 구성하는 것을 보여줄 텐데요. 새로운 컨셉이고 많은 지금 현재 AI에 관심이 있는 분야에서 많은 인트레스트를 가지는 에리어인 것 같습니다. 그래서 여러분들이 보시고 오늘은 특별 게스트로 오셨는데요. 앞으로도 이렇게 특별 게스트를 불러서 저희만 하는 것이 아니라 세션을 뭐 한두 번 하면은 참 좋을 것 같아요. 그래서 참석해 주셔서 감사합니다. 그러면은 오늘 이 세션을 시작하도록 할게요. 괜찮으시죠? 질문은 다 모았다가 나중에 받는 걸로 하겠습니다. 네. Okay, Ashwin. Hopefully you understood my introduction.
Yes, I did a bit.
All right. So why don't you kick off and let's start.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Let me quickly share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it does.
All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to talk about spec-driven development with Apex Lang. And as part of the session, we're going to first learn what is Apex Lang. That's a new marquee feature as part of Apex 26.1. And we're going to understand about spec-driven development, how we can quickly transform your requirement document or a functional requirement document into a fully functional Apex application. And then we're going to explore generative development approach. Of course, a lot of us have been using AI to generate application these days. So how to generate application using AI? And then we are going to do a live demo. Okay. So we're going to build an application, a CRM application from scratch. And you're going to see how we can scaffold it and then how to enhance it using AI. Okay. A quick introduction about myself. My name is Ashwin. I'm a product manager for Oracle Apex. Alongside me, I also have my fellow Oracle colleagues who will assist you with any questions. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. So with that, let me move on to the next slide. A quick safe harbor. The topic we're going to discuss today is already in production, already GA. If I happen to make any forward-looking statement, please don't make any purchasing decision solely on this topic. Okay. All right. So first thing, what is Apex Lang? So Apex Lang is an open application specification language that provides a declarative, human-readable, text-based representation of your Apex metadata, right? Sorry for that. All right. So why do we call it open application specification language? It's not an open source that you can do some modifications online, but it is open. What it means by open is the language is fully documented, it is human readable, it's extensible, and it's based on a published grammar. So we have the grammar available publicly, right? And it's a format that both humans and AI can understand, right? compared to the traditional SQL export format of your Apex application. Apex Lang can be easily understood by humans and AI as well. And they'll be able to modify it, they'll be able to understand it, and they'll be able to read it, or they'll be able to generate the content as well, right? So that's a USP of Apex Lang. Now, what that means in practice is most of you are familiar with traditional Apex export, right? And import files in SQL format. While those files are generated through SQL API calls, you might see a lot of PL SQL API calls there, which is not really readable, right? You cannot really modify that outside, right? If you modify it, you might end up breaking the metadata while you import it. So the challenge there is it is difficult to read, it is difficult to diff, or also do the comparison, right? Using a version control like GitHub and so on. So with Apex Lang, we have introduced a human readable text-based representation of your application. So instead of a single SQL export format, which used to have earlier, we will have a zip package so Apex Lang is a new export format. So when you export it as an Apex Lang format, you will see a zip package containing all the application components organized as an individual .apx files, right? A bunch of all the components, right? Which makes up your application, like pages, your shared components, and all of that which makes up your application will be exported as a file-based structure in the form of .apx files, okay? So now what that means is you can edit these files locally, right? You don't need to do the changes in an app builder. You can edit it outside your app builder, right? Outside your browser in your local IDs like VS Code and so on. And then use tools like SQL Developer and SQL CL to basically export, import, and do all those operations, right? You don't need to come to Apex Builder to import it, although you can do that. But you can use external tools like SQL Developer as part of VS Code and SQL CL to export, import, validate your Apex Lang files, right? And most importantly, since you can access these files outside your builder, you can use a wide range of AI coding agents, right? Like Codex, Claude, Code, and so on. There are multiple very popular coding agents available. You can use them to generate Apex Lang content, right? So this is about Apex Lang. Next, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, now let's see how application development in Apex has been evolved over the years, right? Let us start with pre-24 version. I'm sure most of you might have used Apex, so I hope you're able to make sense of what I'm trying to talk or convey here. So before 24, let us say you want to build or add some feature to your application, right? You used to go to your browser, log into your workspace, go to your app builder and start building applications. So creating an app and start adding pages and features as you go, right? Manually. So that is how it used to be. And then came the era of AI, right? So then came the 24 version. This is where we introduced generative AI services in your workspace. So you can simply configure your generative AI services. We have a bunch of providers which are available. Once you configure, then you can use them as part of your app builder, right? You can create a data model, you can create an application, and also you can use AI as part of your code editor, wherein you can simply build SQL queries or also debug and troubleshoot any issues with the SQL queries. So that's about Apex Assistant. And now with 26.1, we have Apex Lang, which I already explained to you. It's a human readable representation, file-based representation of your Apex metadata. And then we also have something called as blueprint scaffolding, right? This is a spec-driven development approach, which we're going to talk more about in the coming slides. So what does that mean on a high level is, if you have a requirement document, how we can transform that using AI into a fully functional Apex application, okay? So these are the two approaches we're going to explore further in more detail in the coming slides, okay? So next, now let's talk about generative development, right? Let us say you have a functional requirement document, or let us say you want to build an app. The first thing you would do is gather a requirement, right? You gather a requirement, either your business analyst or your product owners would actually help you to build a functional requirement document. The functional requirement document basically talks about or details about what an application should do, right? What are the different roles and what are the different functionalities you would like to have in an application, right? This is just a simple document which you maintain, right? So once you have that, how you can next step after functional requirement document is to create a database objects, right? You create your schema and create all the database objects looking at your functional requirement document, right? That is the next step we used to do. And after that, what you do, you go ahead and build an application. You look at the functional requirement document and start building pages and application manually. This was pre-AI era, but of course now we are in the era of AI, so we would like to use AI to streamline this or speed up our development, right? So let us see how we can do this in the era of AI. So let's start with the prompt, right? Of course, everyone has access to the coding agents, right? Let's start with the prompt. You have an idea. In my case, the idea is I want to build an employee leave management application. Now, I will simply put a prompt in my coding agent stating that build me an employee leave management application, right? I don't need to build a functional requirement document here. AI will do that for me. So once you do that, you just go to your coding agents and prompt it. Now, LLMs are very good with this, right? They have a very good domain understanding. They understand the intent of what you are asking, right? And then they will come up with a functional requirement document, right? That is what we have. Now, this is not the final step, right? Because AI might generate you a functional requirement document, which may or may not meet your expectations, right? Sometimes you might require some features which is specific to a use case. So this is an iterative approach, right? This is an iterative way of doing things. So you might again go back and forth to AI coding agents and prompt again, stating that, okay, I would like to add some more features and so features. So you would go back to your LLMs and you prompt it, then it will go back and forth until you have a fully refined, fully polished requirement document. So once you have this functional requirement document, next step, again, you go back to your prompt and ask it to generate a database objects, right? Create table, indexes, views, triggers, everything, right? It will look at your functional requirement document and come up with the database objects, right? Now, it's very important to not just build a database objects. It's also important to enrich your schema. So what I mean by enriching schema is to create annotations, right? It's just not about tables and views and triggers and so on. AI needs some more information which will enable it to understand your database model better. So that's when you need to use annotations, right? Annotations for a table, annotations for your columns, and so on. So this is the step wherein you can add all that either manually or you can use AI, right? Add comments, add annotations, and so on. So make it fully rich so that you can build a very good application, right? Once you're done with this step, the next step is baseline application, right? You simply use AI, use generative development to come up with an application using all the artifacts we have generated, the requirement document and the schema objects. Okay, so this is the flow in a high level. We're going to again go in more depth how we can generate an app using these two artifacts, right? That is what I'm going to talk about in the next slide. Again, now let's talk about generative development approach, right? We spoke about how we can generate functional requirement document. We generated a schema objects, right, using AI. Now, next step is how to come up with an application, right? How to use AI to generate your application using these two artifacts. So first thing, we start with requirement document, which you already got from the previous step. And then we have something called a schema metadata. Now, what is this schema metadata? This is not the database objects. Again, so once you create a database objects from the previous step, you install it in your database, right? Now, it's not really ideal for AI to actually look into a database every time for any objects. So we would like to have that stored as a file so that AI can easily read only related or important information only. For example, tables and views, right? Only these two information would be actually needed to build your application. So how to generate this schema metadata? So in 26.1, we have a new feature or a utility called as describe tables, wherein you can simply export your table definitions in the form of MD file, which is a markdown file, right? Why markdown file? Because it's much more AI friendly and AI can easily understand the structure of your tables and columns and also the annotations and comments you added. So everything will be gathered as part of this file, right? So you can simply go to your utilities in your workspace utilities and export this file. So now we have these two files generated, right? What is the next step? Next step is to choose an approach. Now we are in the era of AI, so there are multiple ways we can generate an app. There is not one way of doing things, right? So let us explore what are the two different approaches we can use to build an Apex app, right? The first approach is blueprint scaffolding, right? So what it means is, so basically blueprint scaffolding is a process of generating Apex application with Apex Lang using AI generated application blueprints, right? So basically this is one way of generating an application, but the generation process requires you to create an application blueprint, right, using AI. So what is this application blueprint? Basically, it is a plan, right? Application plan. It gives a breakdown of all your pages and the components and all the supporting objects, right, which is required to build an application. It details out all of this in the form of file. And again, this is AI generated, okay? Now, once this file has been generated by AI, we will use this file to import into your Apex builder. The Apex engine will understand this file that will enable Apex engine to build an equivalent Apex application out of this file, okay? So to start with, we need a file or an artifact called a system prompt or a blueprint prompt. So this is again Oracle provided. You can simply download it from the GitHub, okay? So what is this about? It contains all the guardrails and rules defining all the page patterns and design patterns of how I can construct a application blueprints. It has all these rules and guardrails. So you don't need to worry about this or modify this. This is again Oracle provided. So you can simply download it and use it and feed it to AI to come up with an application blueprint. So now we have three artifacts: requirement document, schema metadata, and system prompt, right? Once we have these three files ready, the next step is go to your coding agents, either Claude, Codex, Klein, or any of your coding agent, preferred coding agents, and then simply prompt using these three documents, come up with an application blueprint, right? So that's the next step, which AI will look at these three artifacts, right? It has all the rules of how application blueprint file should look like, and then it will come up with that application blueprint, right? It's a markdown file again. I'm going to show you how it looks in the live demo. Okay, so once we have the application blueprint, again, you can inspect it, you can review it, and you can import it as well, right? So once you have that, the next step is go to your app builder, and we have a new import utility or a function available, which is called as application blueprint imports. Similar to how you import an application, right? In Apex Builder, you can import your application blueprint file, right? Once you do that, it will convert your application blueprint file into a good Apex application or a baseline Apex application, right? Having and emulating all the features which you documented in your functional requirement document, right? So this is one way of doing things. Next approach is using Apex Lang skills. I'm sure if you are familiar with 26.1 release, you might be familiar with Apex Lang skills. This is something which we released recently. Now, using Apex Lang skills, we can again generate application directly using AI. Okay, so here we are not generating an application blueprint. We are straight away generating an application or Apex Lang project, right? So as part of this, now just before I proceed, what is skills, right? We should know what is skills all about, right? The skills are basically like a knowledge base. It contains all the information related to a specific domain. So in this case, it is an Apex Lang skills. Again, you can download it from the GitHub repository or you can install it, right? So Apex Lang skills contains all the information and all the template contracts, right? All about how Apex Lang should look like, the structure of Apex Lang, the syntax, the grammar, everything has been defined as part of this Apex Lang skills. So once you have Apex Lang skills, you can simply install it or download it into your local directory, into your coding agents folder. Once you do that, now we can use again coding agent. Now coding agents will use these Apex Lang skills file along with the two artifacts, the requirement document and schema metadata, to go ahead and build you an APEX-Lang project, right? A bunch of .apx files and so on. It creates that in your VS Code or any of your code editors, wherever you are using the coding agent, right? Once you generate this APEX-Lang source file or a project file, then the next step is to import it to your builder, right? Here we are not generating a blueprint file, we are generating an APEX-Lang file directly, right? And completely AI-driven compared to your blueprint scaffolding. In blueprint scaffolding, it is called deterministic because it is not generating an app from AI, it is just generating a blueprint, and from blueprint to app, it is done by the Apex engine. But here, it is completely driven by AI. The second time you prompt again to create a same application, it might look different, right? It may not look consistently same. So once you have the APEX-Lang file, source file or project file, you can simply import it, right? Using SQL Developer, SQL CL, or you can import it using a builder. So this is the approach on a high level, right? Now, what are we going to do for the demo? So we're going to explore two sides of it. We're going to do both, basically. We're going to start with blueprint scaffolding. We're going to actually build an application from scratch. We're going to scaffold an application from scratch. And then we will enhance an application, right? So of course, you might come across a lot of features, enhancements as you go during the development phase. So we will enhance it. Now, to enhance it, we will use APEX-Lang skills, okay? So that's about the generative development approach. Now let's move on to the demo. Okay, so before we start, let's understand what we need to set up, okay? What are the tools we need to get started, okay? So the first tool is VS Code. It could be VS Code. It could be any code which supports SQL Developer extension. It need not be VS Code also. It can be anti-gravity, or it could be Monaco editors and so on, right? Wherever you see SQL Developer extension, or you can install SQL Developer extension as part of these editors, you can use this tool, right? So I will go with the VS Code. And once you have VS Code installed, the next thing you need is SQL Developer extension. This is where you need to install that as an extension in your VS Code. I will show you how to do that. And then you need AI coding agents, right? Of course, we are using AI to generate generate application. So we will use either of the coding agents. So in my case, I'm using Codex, but you can use all the preferred popular coding agents, right? Claude, Codex, and there are many other popular coding agents available as per your choice, right? So once you have all these three tools installed, the next thing which I need is skills, right? APEX-Lang skills, which I spoke about. You can either download it from your GitHub repository. You can scan the QR to download it, right? You can either download it manually and place it in your coding agents folders. For example, for Codex, you would see a .codex folder in your home directory. You can download this and put this skills folder inside that skills folder in .codex, or you can use SQL CL to install it or sync skills using a skills sync command, okay? You can simply use the skill name as Apex or DB. Apex is for Apex skills, DB is for DB skills, right? There are multiple skills which are available as part of Oracle GitHub repository, okay? So once you have downloaded or installed skills, next step is to build a very good baseline CRM application. So we're going to do that from scratch, absolute scratch. So let me go to my, okay, this is the VS Code. This is my VS Code. Now, as I told you, the first thing we need is a VS Code, right? The second thing we need is a SQL Developer. As you can see, I've already installed SQL Developer. To install it, you can go to the extension and simply search for SQL Developer. And you can install it, okay? So once you install it, make sure you connect to your schema where your workspace is linked, right? Because we would like to export and import and do such operations using this particular connection. So you can simply connect it. You can create a new connection here, connect to your host, enter all your database credentials and so on of your schema, and then test and connect it, right? So once you're done with that, the next thing you need is a coding agents. Again, coding agents, it's again coding agent agnostic. APEX-Lang works with all the popular coding agents. So you can simply go here. You can search for Claude. If you want to install Claude, you can search for Claude, right? Or you can also install Codex, right? If needed. So this is how you install. And then next step is to install a skills, right? So to install skills, again, as I told you, you can download it or you can sync it, right? The best and easiest way is to sync it. So to sync it, you can go to your SQL connection, right click, click on Open SQL CL, connect to your database, and simply run skills sync. Right? So you can just enter this command and this will install the skills into your local directory. So you don't need to take that hassle of downloading and putting it into a respective folders. All right. So I have all the skills already installed here. Okay, let me show you the skills which has been already installed. You can use skills list. So it has been already installed into all my coding agents. So I'm good to go, right? So once you have all of this set up, next step is let's have a look at the documents, right? We are going to build an app. So to build an app, like I said, first thing is requirement document, right? So I already have a requirement document for CRM, customer relationship management application, wherein I'm tracking all the leads and converting leads into opportunities and so on, right? It's a basic typical CRM use case, right? Let me quickly do an open preview, and this is how my application or the requirement document looks like, right? It keeps track of all the roles, who is going to use my app, what are the features I would like to see in my application, right? This is how it looks like. Okay, I have different modules and different sections I would like to have as part of my app. Once I have this, the next thing is I want to have a schema metadata, right? I already installed the database objects in my database. So this is how the schema metadata looks like. It's a markdown file again. Let me show you the preview. It basically details out what are the columns, what are the tables, right? What are the annotations of each of these, what are the table comments, and so on, right? Now, this will give you a very good information to AI, right? When you generate an app, it knows, okay, if I want to create an kind of a page for accounts, I will use CRM accounts, right? And so on. Now, how do you generate this? Let's go back to our builder. So to generate the CRM schema metadata, go to SQL commands, go to utilities, and under utilities, you have describe tables, right? You refresh this. Okay. Let me go back and come again. So you would see all the table list here for a particular schema. If you have multiple schemas, you can choose them and select all the tables which are going to be a part of this app. Select them and click on describe. Right now, it has converted your table definitions into a nice markdown format, right? Now, you can download this. You can click on download. This will download you a file, right? A schema metadata file. You can simply use that. So now you have two files, functional requirement, schema metadata, right? Next file you need is blueprint prompt. This is what I was talking about for blueprint scaffolding. You need a blueprint prompt. Again, this is Oracle provided. You don't need to worry about it. You can simply download it from the GitHub repository. Okay, and how does it look? Let me quickly preview that. It basically contains all the design patterns, UI UX patterns of how an application blueprint should look like, right? So you don't need to do any changes. So you don't need to bother about this. And next thing you would need is a icon list, right? Apex has a list of font Apex icons, which is specific to Apex. So we are also providing these are the icons it can use as part of UI. Okay, so we have these three documents. Next thing, just go to your coding agents. It could be Codex or any of your preferred one. And just say use CRM functional requirement, CRM schema metadata, and blueprint prompt. So these are the three artifacts, right? Which is an input to AI. Using this, using these three files, generate me an application blueprint. Okay, so this is my prompt. Very simple, right? Using these 3 files, generate me an application blueprint, right? You can use a preferred model or the reasoning as you wish. Okay, and click on enter, and this will generate you an application blueprint. I'm not going to do that because it's going to take some time, at least a couple of minutes. So in interest of this demo, I already have generated an application blueprint. Okay, so that is again AI generated. Now, this is how it looks like. Let me quickly preview. Now, if I close this, so this is my application blueprint. It talks about application definition. It basically looks like APEX-Lang, but it is not APEX-Lang. Again, it's on a high level overview of your application breakdown. Like your application needs an application definition, right? It needs a shared components like list of values. It needs pages, right? If we go a bit further, these are the page groups it's going to create. These are the menus or the navigation entries it's going to create. Everything is AI driven or AI generated, right? Everything has been created. And if you go a bit further down, it also talks about what region it needs to create under which page and what is the query it can use. Everything has been generated using the artifacts we have supplied. Okay. And what is the column span, how it should look, everything has been detailed out here. Okay. So once you have this, next step is to import this application blueprints into your app builder. So to do that, again, let me go back to my app builder. I have the file generated. Now let's go to app builder. Now let me click on import. Now, earlier we are familiar with this application export or import, right? We used to have .SQL, we used to simply import it. Now we also have an option, additional file type called as application blueprint, wherein you can import the application blueprint generated by AI. So I will simply browse this file. This is my generated blueprint. Okay. Now the prerequisite for this is the file should not be a .doc or any other different formats. It should always be a markdown format, .md format. And then you should register your schema as a REST enabled. Okay, so you can do that from here. Under RESTful service, you can simply need to REST enable your schema. Okay, I already registered my schema with the ODS. So once you do this, your next step is to click next. Now it has given me an error, right? Now, AI is not fully perfect, right? It can happen with best of us. It can do mistakes or it can hallucinate, right? It may not be always a happy path. So how do you debug errors? If you import and if you get some errors, it will come up with an error message like this, right? What you can do is you can simply copy this error message, go back to your coding agent, right? And simply say, fix this. Just Control V, copy that error file and just say, fix this. So what does it do? AI will again look into my artifacts and then it will fix the generated blueprint. Okay, it will fix wherever issues are being found in this particular file. So in my case, I actually intentionally, planted this error. So let me just go back and just add this. Yes. So I fixed my error. I will not use AI here. Again, let me go back. Once you fix that error, you can come back and browse your file, select application blueprint, go next. So there you go. It has compiled or validated my application blueprint. So Apex Engine has accepted and passed it and given a green signal. So we are good to go. And now you can choose the different passing schema if needed, and also the application ID. So it is assigning me one application ID. I'm happy with that. And click on import application. Now, what does it do? Apex Engine will pass my files and convert that into an equivalent Apex application, okay, behind the scenes. So it has imported and created me an application. So let's see how our application looks like. Let me go to my application. So it has created me a CRM app. It has around 37 pages, 37 odd pages, right? I've not done one bit here, right? I've just given a couple of documents and it has done that job for me. Now let's go to shared components. It has created all the list, navigations, list of values, everything. And let me go to authorization. It has created me an authorization scheme, right? It should be protected, right? And then I also have application access control. So it has created me a bunch of roles who can access this particular application. Now let me quickly add an user and assign an access control to this. I already have users created. So I will just simply use one of the sales representative user. I'll simply give all the privilege to this user. Once done, let me run this app. Let's see how the app looks like. All right, so this is how the app has been generated, right? Using application blueprint scaffolding. It has created you a dashboard page, very good looking dashboard, bunch of charts, reports. Click on that. Again, it's created a detail page. It's created you a form page. Right? Everything, whatever I mentioned as part of my function requirement document is available here. It has created a dashboard for a specific set of users. Accounts page, contacts, leads. Click on this, you go to a detail page. Again, it opens a form page. You can do a delete or apply changes and so on, right? Customers, activities, orders, everything, right? It has created you at one go. Imagine how much time it might take you to build all these pages, right? It can take you a lot of days to develop this. So now this is a baseline application. Now, of course, this has created you a very good application, but it may or may not contain all the features you would like to have, right? Now, this is not the end of it. You would definitely need to enhance the application further, right? You might get some more requirement in future to enhance your application. So how do you do that? If you have an existing application, let's export that app. To export an app, again, go back to your VS Code, right? Connect to your SQL Dev. This is my schema. I will expand this. Go to my application. Now let me just refresh this. 133 is the app which I just imported. Right click on that and click on export. Okay. Now when you export, it will export you in a APEX-Lang format. Okay. So now basically it asks you where you need to export this particular APEX-Lang project, right? So you can simply browse whatever files, whatever folder where you want to place this APEX-Lang export file, right? I browsed here and simply click on apply, right? Now, when you click on apply, it will simply export that into your local directory, okay? Let me do that. If you can see on the bottom, it is doing the script runner and it has exported. Now, there you go. We have the app exported, right? We have the pages, everything in the form of human readable format, right? This is the APEX-Lang version of your app, right? Bunch of APX files. This is for page 1, page 2, page 3, and so on, right? And again, I will not go into much detail because it might require some more time to go through all the project file structure. But do know that, all the configuration related to your deployment, like app ID, workspace, all these things are stored under default JSON, right? And all the pages under pages, shared components, and under shared components. So this is how your APEX-Lang artifact looks like export. Now, once you do the export, now let's use coding agent to enhance it, right? So let me go back to my app. I would like to do a couple of things as part of this enhancement. I will use AI to enhance my application again, add some more features. First thing is I will go to the leads page. Now, this is a classic report. This looks good, but I would like to make it more appealing, visually appealing. So I would like to convert this classic report into a content row, okay? Now, I will not instruct anything further than this. I will let AI decide what to do here, okay? So I would like to make that change on the leads page. Let's go back to my PPT. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is AI customization. UI customization, right? So here we are trying to enhance or improvise your leads page. So let's quickly see. I'm not going to show you live because it's going to take a bit of time. So let me quickly show you what's being done here. Once you export an app, you go to your codex and simply prompt convert a lead report into a content row. Right? In the report, show me lead name, lead type code. Just explain in a natural language what you exactly want to do. So what does it do? It will use the skills which I have installed. Now AI coding agents will look into my skills, and it will also look into my exported app on the left. You see there's an app which has been exported, right? And it will determine which page it needs to do the change. As you can see, it has understood, okay, leads report page is in page 3. So it will understand and determine that, and it will go and use the skills knowledge to convert a classic report into a content row. Okay, let me forward it a bit. Now, if you see, it's editing that particular leads page, right? Can forward it a bit. All right, so now it takes a bit of time, so that's why I'm not doing it live. Let me go. Okay, so it has implemented me a lead report, right? It has added me all the changes which I've asked it for. Now, next step is to simply go here and click on import. There's an import option here. You don't need to go to the builder. You can simply import it from your VS Code, right? Click on that import button, and you would see a confirmation message once it has been imported. There you go. Application successfully imported, right? Now let's go back to my application and see the change. I will go to my leads page. As you can see, the classic reports has been changed to a content row, right? It has done all the things. I would like to have avatar, badges, and so on. Now, this is not going to stop here, right? It is not going to do everything you asked it for. You might need some more changes, more UI changes. Let's do some more changes iteratively. So this is the beauty of Apex Lang. You can iteratively add changes using AI, right? So now what I want to do here is I would like to format this budget. Let me go back again. I would like to format this budget amount and also change the icon of an avatar. Okay, so that is what I'm going to prompt. Make an avatar, leads page extra small, right? And also add the formatting for my lead value there, right? So what does it do? Again, it will look into the same page and it will generate me and it will add the changes. Okay, I compile it and successfully imported. Now, when I go back and check my app, we log in again, you see the icon has been changed as a small, and also it has added the format, right? Very good. Next, let's move on to the next enhancement, which is bulk edits. One of the major use case Apex Lang along with AI solves is a bulk edits, right? Let us imagine a scenario wherein you would like to add a change across multiple pages. Let us say you have an application with around 100 pages, and you would like to make a similar consistent change across all the pages. How would you do right now? You would go to each page and do, right? Which is very time consuming and monotonous. So how about offloading this monotonous task to AI, and we can focus on other important things, right? So that is what we're going to solve here under this use case for bulk edits. So for the bulk edits, what we're going to do is we have a lot of pages under Vision CRM, which has a buttons, something like new leads or new contacts or new opportunities. So this button looks good, but not so great, right? I would like to place it on the breadcrumb bar somewhere here. And I would like to also make it visually appealing, right? I would like to make it more colorful. So doing that manually page by page is not a good idea, right? It's going to be taking a lot of time for me. So I will go back to my VS Code codex and simply prompt, move all the create buttons to the right side of the breadcrumb bar and make them visually appealing, right? Or visually prominent. So what is it going to do? Again, it's going to look into my skills. It is going to determine what are the pages which requires this change or have these similar buttons. And it is going to add the change. Okay, let me forward it a bit. So it has identified 10 files where it requires change, right? I have not mentioned that, go to so-and-so page and do the change. So it has done that. Let me forward it a bit. All right. So it has done changes to 10 files here. As you can see, it has edited 10 files. And next is to import. Just import an app. Once you import, now when I go and run my application, you can see the buttons has been placed on the breadcrumb bar, and also it is having an icon, and also it is visually prominent, right? It looks good, better than what you used to have earlier. Right? These are some of the changes you can do using AI and APEX-Lang. Let's move on to the next use case. Adding a business validations, right? So application or pages or any of your form pages do require business validations, right? And that may not be always be available from the AI generated application blueprint or application scaffolded application. So you might get a new feature enhancement or a new feature request for adding a validation. So APEX-Lang skills also support business validation. You can also add them using AI. So here, let me go to the demo. So what I want to do is I have a leads form page. And when I edit the form, I have a budget, right, which allows me to add negative values, right, which is not a good thing, right? It should not allow me to add negative values. Basically, it should give me a kind of validation error here. So now let us go back to AI and ask AI to add this business validation. Okay, I'll go back to my VS Code and I will simply prompt. In the leads page or a leads form page, just ensure that the budget amount is non-negative. Right? So this is my prompt. Once I have the prompt, again, it will look into my APEX-Lang skills. It will understand how the business validation structure, APEX-Lang structure should look like. And then it will come up with the change, right? I will simply forward it. All right, so it has done the change. It has added me the validation. Okay, now I simply quickly import. Once you import, the application successfully imported, and let me see the change and let's see how it works. I go to the leads page, my form page, and when I add some negative value in the budget or expected values and I save it, it gives me a validation message, right? So that has done a good job there. All right, so next and the last or the next use case is visualizing leads on a map feature. As we know, Apex is having a lot of high value components like maps, charts, and so on, which has been pre-cooked or inbuilt or which is available out of the box as part of your Apex, right? So how about creating a new page using AI? Basically, I would like to create a map page and locate all the leads on this particular map. Okay, that is what we're going to do here. Again, APEX-Lang skills support this. So we can generate maps component using AI. So let me quickly run it. I go here and I just simply say add a map page. Right? I'm not given any sort of context here. Now AI has understood that to build a map region, it requires latitude and longitude. Now it is asking me whether should I go ahead, access your database and refer to these two columns, latitude and longitude, right? I would say yes, go ahead and access that. So it will look into my columns and then it will go ahead and build me an APEX-Lang page. Right? So it has created a new page here called as leads map.apx or a page number 37. So it is just not adding a page here, right? It also understood that a page needs to have a navigation menu to be visible on your application, right? You need to have a way to go to that page, right? Navigate to that page. So we need a navigation menu. So it is also creating you a navigation menu entry here, the list. It is also creating a breadcrumbs here. So it's just not simply blindly creating a page, right? So that's the beauty of using AI with APEX-Lang. So now it does the same changes. Now it has done the changes here. Now when I go and import, it has failed, right? Now this could be the scenario while using AI, right? It may not be a happy path always. You might come across some errors, some or other errors while you generate code or APEX-Lang using AI. Now, how to debug or fix this? So what you can do is you go to the show import logs or a problems panel, just copy all the errors. It tells you which line the error has occurred or what exactly the error is, right? Now, again, if you try to import, it will not let you, because until you fix these errors, ApexLang is not going to let you, import the app. So what you can do, go to AI, either do it manually. If you're very good with ApexLang syntax, you can do it manually, or if you're not, you can use AI here, right? So just copy that, fix these errors, copy the errors, and click on enter. And this will, again, look into your skills and fix all those syntactical or grammatical errors in your ApexLang. I will just forward it. All right, so it has done the change. Now, when I go and compile it, it has compiled successfully. And if you see, it has created a new navigation list, leads map, and a map region has been created, right? Right. So the next and the last use case I would like to show you is creating an AI agents. Again, using AI to create AI agents. Interesting, isn't it? So AI agents is a new feature as part of your 26.1, wherein you can create tools to perform some actions or also retrieve data, right? So how about using AI or any of your coding agents to create AI agents for you? So that's what we're going to explore. I go again back to my coding agents and I simply say add an AI assistant to my application, the CRM homepage, wherever you want to locate it. So what does it do? It creates you a button and it creates you a dynamic action. On click of button, it invokes you a chatbot, and it also creates even AI agents in the shade component. So it does all of this in just a single sentence prompt. So let me again forward it a bit in interest of time. All right, so it has created you a page, and let's quickly import this. I imported it and no errors. It's successful. Let me go back to my app and I refresh it. There you go. You have a button, right? This is the button which has been created, AI assistant. It opens the chatbot. Now I can simply prompt here, like what all you can do. It will show me or give me information about the chatbots can do. Now this is not going to be final thing, right? You can iteratively go back and add more tools to these AI agents, right? As and when you want like to add some more features. So this is about this is how you can add AI using AI. So with that, I have concluded my demo. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to explore blocks, right, about ApexLang, this is the QR code. You can scan it. And whatever we spoke about, right, all the concepts and the demo, you can actually explore it. This is a blog for scaffolding, which talks about that. You can also go to this blog and explore that. Or you can go to blogs.oracle.com/apex, wherein you can explore all the blogs from the PM team. And again, if you want to get started, how to set up your VS Code and how to get started with using AI to develop application or implement ApexLang, you can use this. You can refer this blog. So it has all the step-by-step guide how you can get started. Okay. And if you want to look into the hands-on lab, if you want to work along and basically do whatever I've done as part of hands-on lab, we have that as well. The CRM, same use case, the CRM app. You can access this and you can follow the labs to get started and set up. That handing over to you, Christina. Thanks. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Ashwin. This is very helpful. It was certainly helpful for me as well. I really appreciate doing this session for Oracle Korea people. PMs might be asking why separate user group Zoom meeting here, because you guys, I know you have a office hour for JPEG Apex office hours. This user group had started a long time before you guys started JPEG office hour. They have organized their own user group meetings, and we meet once per month at the beginning of the month on every Wednesday. And this is why this is a special group getting nurtured. Actually, Oracle Korea is supporting, and also I'm helping them out as well. So this is a real big help. There are certainly members here who uses Apex in really in production, right? In customer sites. They are building Apex apps, normally using the browser interface. This is a completely different approach with Apex Lang, with the AI. This will help, definitely. Thank you so much, Ashwin.
You're welcome.
So let me ask if they have any questions and help them out. All right.
Yeah.
So 5 more minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
오케이. 감사합니다. 오늘 함께 참석해 주셔서 감사하고요. 혹시 오늘 나눈 내용에 많은 컨셉이 있는데 질문이 있으시면 제가 전달을 하도록 하겠습니다. 질문이 있으신가요?
채팅창으로 제가 좀 보내고 싶은데,
네.
제 통역을 뭐 원활하게 해주시면 질문을 하나 드리고 싶은데
네.
제가 직접 영어로 하는 것보다는 더 편할 것 같아서
네네.
어, 일단 저는 궁금한 거는 만약에 데이터베이스 오브젝트가 그 멀티바이 랭귀지일 때 뭐, 재패니즈, 차이니즈 아니면 코리안 캐릭터, 투바이트, 멀티바이트 캐릭터일 경우에 즉 데이터베이스 테이블 네임이 전부 다 코리안으로 되어 있는 경우, 뷰들이 코리안으로 되어 있는 경우, 그럴 경우에 방금 보여주신 형태로 저희가 어차피 잉글리시를 사용하는 리전이 아니다 보니까 이렇게 챗봇하고 대화할 때도 이 코리안 랭귀지를 써야 되고 그 다음에 데이터베이스 오브젝트들도 코리안으로 되어 있기 때문에 그것을 얼마나 잘 AI가 이해를 해서 이것이 데이터베이스 오브젝트이기 때문에 어떤 페이지를 만들어 뭐 주고 컨디션을 어떻게 적용을 하고 뭐 그렇게 잘 원활하게 잘 될까라는 게 조금 궁금해요. 호기심이 좀 있어요.
네. 물어볼게요. So their question, so Jan Cook is asking question. Mostly in Korea, the development, so their schemas are multi-byte names. And database objects are multi-byte names. There is natural language specification, could be multi-byte, right? Will Apex skills work fine in designing the multi-byte approach, reading off multi-byte objects, as well as designing an app with many of multi-byte informations? Just like how you demoed CRM, this is all natural language in English, right?
Yeah. Okay, you mean to
Will
say,
they have
does
any
it support,
issues?
okay, does it support other languages as well? Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. So AI is very good with different languages, right? So they'll be able to grasp it. So, like I said, you need to have some sort of kind of annotations and table comments and all those sort of things. So it's if you have it very detailed and have it in your language, right? AI would be able to actually interpret that and able to help you. So definitely, it will support different languages. In my
Okay.
opinion. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, sounds good. Let me transfer that over. 아까 데이터베이스 오브젝트에 대한 마크다운 파일이 있었잖아요. AI한테 주어질 적에 애플리케이션을 제작할 적에 나에게는 이런 데이터베이스 오브젝트가 있고 이러한 데이터가 있는데 이것을 사용해서 앱을 제작해달라고 했을 적에 데이터베이스 안에는 오브젝트에 대한 애노테이션을 달 수가 있습니다. 그래서 테이블은 어떤 정보를 가지고 있고, 이 칼럼들은 어떠한 정보를 가지고 있고, 이러한 것들을 몰티바이스로 설명을 할 수가 있습니다. 그래서 만약에 이게 한글로 설명이 잘 되어 있다면 AI는 아무래도 영어만 알아듣는 게 아니라 다중 언어를 이해하기 때문에 이러한 것들을 가지고 인포메이션을 사용해서 앱을 제작하는 데는 무리가 없다라고 생각한다고 합니다. 네. Let me get the chat question. That's coming from the gentleman with the blue t-shirt, Sunchul. He's asking, it was a bit difficult to comprehend the VS Code and SQL Developer integration and staging out all these skills and the blueprint specification markdown files and things like that. He's asking, do I need to use all of these to build Apex app?
See, there are two ways of doing things. You can either use SQL Developer or a SQL CL. SQL Developer is much more interactive. So you have the tool, you can simply go and install it, right? Installing is very easy. So you need these tools to actually do the offline development. So we also have in 24.2, we used to have a development using AI from the builder, wherein you can simply configure generative AI services, create a data model and create an app, but that is not really a fully functional or a complete app, right? So this gives you a flexibility to use it outside. Of course, this is a new development workflow for Apex developers. It is going to be little difficult to, gather and understand what exactly we need to do here. But once you do it, it's straightforward. So we have a blog actually which details out all of this. So you can refer to that step by step. It's a one-time kind of process which you need to simply set up. After that, it's going to be like in a flight mode. Like you can do operations day in day out without doing anything extra here, right? So we used to also have this SQL developer earlier, but we used to not use it for Apex because we used to always rely on app builder for our app development. But here, since we have the new format called Apex Lang, so we need to export it outside and we can use coding agents. This is what other popular frameworks have been doing as well, right? So definitely, yeah. I think I can paste the
Yeah, if you have the blog post link, I know you shared the QR. Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. So 권수철 선생님,
예,
그 셋업은, 네, require 합니다. 에이펙스 랭으로 애플리케이션을 제작할 적에 VS 코드와 SQL 디벨로퍼를 필요하고요. 또 이 스킬 마크다운 파일 같은 거 있죠. 스페시피케이션이나 스킬 마크다운 파일은 AI가 사용하기 위하여서 필요한 파일들입니다. 그래서 이것들은 처음에는 셋업하는 게 아직은 생소해서 어렵지만 한번 셋업해 놓으면 사용하시다 보면은 손에 익을 거고 쉽게 익힐 수가 있습니다. 그리고 애쉬윈이 이 블로그를 갖다가
네,
링크를 보내드렸는데요. 이 블로그를 보시면은 오늘 세션에 데모한 것보다 좀 더 자세한 내용을 이해하실 수 있을 것 같아요. 그리고 제가 또 여기에 대한 컴프리헨션 다큐멘테이션 링크를 보내드렸거든요. 그래서 이 두 가지 링크를 더 사용을 하셔서 오늘 나눈 내용을 좀 더 소화하시기에 도움이 될 수 있을 것 같습니다.
네, 알겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네. Any other, so Kunwon is asking,
네.
can I use can I not use AI models which does not understand Apex Lang? So that's Apex Lang is getting trained by AI because we just released with 26.1. So I can answer in Korean. Let me answer that to him. 에이펙스 랭은 처음 아직 나온 생소한 랭귀지이기 때문에 아직 AI는 이 랭귀지를 많이 알아듣지는 못하고 있습니다. 하지만 점차적으로 트레이닝이 되면서 이해를 할 거고요. 어떤 말을 사용하시든지 다 사용을 하실 수 있습니다. 그렇지만 거기에 대해서 똑똑하게 알아듣는다든지 이러한 차이는 AI 머들의 차이가 있을 것 같습니다. 그렇지만 여러분들이 오늘 애슐이 나눈 이런 스페시피케이션 마크다운이나 스킬 마크다운 파일이나 definitely 스킬 마크다운 파일 같은 것들을 AI에게 이러한 스킬들을 사용하여서 에이펙스 앱을 제작을 해줘 하면은 스킬이 있기 때문에 AI 머를들은 에이펙스 앱을 어떻게 제작하는지 좀 더 정확하게 표현을 해줄 수가 있습니다. 그래서 오늘 나눈 이 스킬, 그 링크 보내드렸죠. 그거는 이제 SQL 디벨로퍼에서도 디렉트리 GitHub에서 가져와서 인스톨을 할 수 있지만 이 GitHub에서 보시면 마크다운 파일을 보시면 페이지는 어떻게 이루어져 있고, 리전은 어떻게 이루어져 있고, 어떤 리전 타입은 어떠한 인포메이션이 필요하고, 이런 것들이 다 설명이 되어 있는 것들이 스킬입니다. 그래서 이 스킬을 가지고, AI가 앱을 제작할 수 있도록 하면은, 에이펙스 랭을 소화하기에는 무리가 없을 것 같아요.
아까 그, 스킬을 싱크하는 게
네.
DB에다가 싱크를 했잖아요.
제가 자꾸 끊기는데,
싱크 코맨드가
네.
그 DB를 접속한 상태에서 싱크를 하는 것 같더라고요, 아까. 스킬을
So Ashwin,
싱크,
when you installed skills from SQL CL, right?
yeah,
You just need a network connection, right? To pull off from the Git to install
Yes,
skills,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. No database connection or anything like that.
So
It's
you
just
don't need to have a
installing that
database.
skills.
You just need to connect to SQL CL and you can simply install skills. You don't need a database connection to have. You can do it from the
Okay.
terminal
Sounds
as your own system terminal.
terminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. 네, 그 데이터베이스 커넥션이
로컬
필요한 것이
디스크,
아니라
네,
GitHub에서 가져와서 그 스킬을 인스톨만 하면 됩니다. 그래서 네트워크 커넥션만 있으면 됩니다.
그러면 DB에다가 깔리는 게 아니라 로컬 디스크에다 깔리는 거네요.
네,
local.script.md 파일들이 여러 개 저번에 그 패키지들이 있고.
네, 그 스킬을 GitHub에서 풀해서 노골리 가져오는 인스톨레이션이라고 합니다.
그 제가 최근에 얼마 전에 테스트했던 거하고는 이 AI 모델이 작업을 하면서 도큐멘테이션들을 많이 만드는데 여기는 도큐멘테이션 만드는 게 우리 과정에는 하나도 없었던 것 같아요. 그럼 그 에이전트 모델들에 대한 어떤 컴퓨터에서 그런 거를 배워했던 것 같아요.
제가 말씀이 자꾸 끊겨서 이해가 잘 안 되는데,
강 사장님 인터넷이 안 좋은가 봐요. 네, 전혀 저도 못 알아듣겠어요.
네.
아,
I think he has a bad connection because the question is breaking up, so I cannot fully understand. Uh,
No, I have another call to jump in actually.
yeah, 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 exactly. So let's 지금 이제 PM들도 다른 데 가셔야 되고 하셔서 나중에 저한테 질문을 주시면 제가 전달하도록 하겠습니다. 네,
알겠습니다.
오늘 세션은 여기서 끝내고 리코딩 해주시면 고정민 부장님께서 이제 나중에 나눠주시면 감사하겠습니다.